He's thinking. In spite of being blind or eyeless, should not say blind, but in spite of being eyeless or without eyes, he's seeing. Pashyatya chakshuhu sashrunotya karnaha. He sees without the eyes, hears without the ears. Apanipado javano grahita. In spite of being without, being without the hands and legs, he's grasping everything, he's going everywhere. This is the description of Atma, also applies to the wise man here. Shruti api, so also says Bhagavad Gita, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. What is the description or what are the lakshanas, characteristics of Sthita Prajna? Ityadya, beginning from there. Sthita Prajna lakshanani achakshana. When Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita describes the lakshana or the characteristics of a wise man, what it means is accepted that there is such an entity called a wise man who is alive. Sthita Prajna lakshanani achakshana smrutihi. This smriti which in fact describes the lakshana or the characteristics of the wise man, vidushaha sarva pravritti asambandham darshayati. Even though the vidwan is there, and still sarva pravritti asambandham, because Bhashyakara while discussing this Sthita Prajna lakshana, in Yanisha Sarabhutanam says very clearly that wise man has no adhikara in performance of action, because the adhikara pravritti comes only because of ignorance, and by wisdom that he is no more than adhikari. And therefore he has only adhikara in sannyasa, sarva karma sannyasa. And then vihaya kamanya sarvan pumam charati nispruha nirmamo nirhankara sashantihi adhigacchati. So nirmamaha nirhankara, devoid of ahankara, identification of the body, mamakara, any kind of a sense of possessiveness with the body. Says vidusha sarva pravritti asambandham darshayati smrutihi. Smriti shows asambandham, the lack of any connection with the pravritti of the body. So there Gita does not say that a wise man is asharira. But from the description of the characteristics of the wise man, we can see that he does not seem to have any connection with the activities of the body. Sarva pravritti asambandham. He is asambandha, meaning he is unconnected with all the pravrittis. So dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigadaspruha. Then yada samharate chayam kurvangani sarvasah. All of these things show that the activities are taking place at the level of body, but he has no connection with them. Sarva pravritti asambandham. All the pravrittis or activities are carried out at the level of body and the sense organs. And still the wise man, in spite of all this happening, himself is unconnected with them, which means that he is unconnected with the body and the sense organs. In a way it is derived. So Lord Krishna does not use the word asharira, etc. in Bhagavad Gita, but from the description of the wise man, we can see that the wise man is free from all the association with the activities. And that shows that he is devoid of the association with the body, devoid of identification with the body, because otherwise he would be an adhikari for performance of action. If he has any notion, brahmanoham, etc., immediately that makes him adhikari for karma. When he says that wise man is primarily not an adhikari for karma, that shows that he is not connected to the body, and this is what Lord Krishna shows in the description while describing the characteristics of the wise man. And therefore, conclusion here. Well, going down to Ratna Prabha, Praniti iti pranahityatah praktano grantha sphutartha. So the grantha, beginning with praniti, prana, all of this is ityantah. Then up to that point, or ityatah praktana. So up to that point, grantha sphutartha, prana shabdasya phalitarthamah jivannapiti. Then says pashvadi vishya visheshadi bhashya vyakhyan avasare बाधित अध्यास अनुवृत्त्या ही अपरोक्ष ज्ञानानाम व्यवहार समन्वय सूत्रे वक्ष्यते इति उक्तम. Ratnavrakar had said that this is how Pashvadi Vishya Visheshat, how the behavior of the wise man is compared to a Pashu. That Pashu also does not have any Kartrutva, and a wise man also doesn't have a Kartrutva. Pashu is on account of being totally tamas, ignorant. Wise man on account of knowledge has no identification with the body, and therefore he also doesn't have any sankalpa. Just as a pashu does not have sankalpa in doing things, it just does instinctively. So also the wise man, without an individual sankalpa, functions, except that it doesn't work instinctively. He functions on sankalpa placed in him by God. And pashu also, when we say pashu acts instinctively means what? When he doesn't have sankalpa, Lord has also made sankalpa for the pashu and then he keeps acting. In that sense, being free, sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha. All the samarambha, the actions are devoid of kama and the sankalpa. In that sense, a similarity was stated there. And how can it be? So, iti bhashya vyakhyana avasare badita adhyas anuvrityahi aparoksha jnaninam vyavahara. If that description was for aparoksha jnani, then it was said that the vyavahara of the aparoksha jnani of the wise people is badita adhyasa anuvritya. That adhyasa is badita. So adhyasa, meaning the identification of the body, is already negated or falsified in the wake of knowledge. Anuvritya, and still the anuvritti or the functioning is there in the manner which used to be there in the earlier times. Aparoksha jnaninam vyavahara. There is an earlier habitual vyavahara. Except that earlier the habit was due to ignorance, and now the habit is because of the nature of the body that vyavahara goes on. It is samanvaya sūtre vakshade. So it was said by Ratna Prabhakara that this is what will be said in samanvaya sūtra. Iti uktam tadatra bhashyartha kathanadvara dyodayitva. Bhashyakara has not quite said it in so many words, but this is what Bhashyakara means. When Bhashyakara said Pashvadi Visheshat earlier, Bhashyakara had in mind what discussion is going to follow in the Samanvaya Sutra, and keeping that discussion of Ashariratvam in mind, that statement was made there. This is what Ratna Prabha says, and that is how justifies this explaining that statement there by saying that how Bhashyakara is connecting this Ashariratvam or the Vyavahara of the Brahmavid in this manner. भाष्यार्थ कथन द्वारा द्योतयित्वा श्रुत्यर्थ कथन द्वारा स्फुटयति वस्तुतः इति. That Bhashyakara has this intention in quoting the Shruti. In light of that, the Shruti is being explained. Vastutah achakshuhu api sachakshuriva, etc. That Vastutah in reality is ashariraha, and even then functioning as sashariraha. That's it. Then Bhashyakara says further, Tasma navagata brahmatma bhavasya yatha purvam samsaritvam asyato yatha purvam samsaritvam nasau avagata brahmatma bhavaha ityanavadyam. Tasmat, therefore, na avagata brahmatma bhavasya, one for whom the brahmatma bhava, the state of Atma being Brahman or Brahman being Atma, avagatam, this is known to whom. So one who has gained the knowledge of the identity of Brahma and Atma, yatha purvam samsaritvam na, his vyavahara may be yatha purva, but is no more a samsari. He is not the vyavahara that makes a person samsari. It is how the vyavahara is being performed. The identification is no more there behind the vyavahara, and therefore, even though the wise man appears to be functioning as before, he cannot be called samsari for the reason that he doesn't have identification with the vyavahara. Na yatha purvam samsaritvam. Yasyatu yatha purvam samsaritvam. Suppose we find that in spite of learning scriptures and everything else also, he still continues to function as samsari. Dukkheshu udvignamanaha, sukheshu avigata spruha. So sukha means spruha is there, dukkha, all udvega is there. When we find that, that means this samsaritvam is there. What is samsaritvam? Is udvega. Wise man, dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. In the dukkha, in the painful situation also, his mind is devoid of udvega. Sukheshu vigata spruha. Even the sukha comes, there is no spruha, no attachment hanging on to it. It comes, he enjoys it, fine. Even the pain comes, he suffers. But udvega is not there. And the happiness comes, he enjoys, but spruha or hanging on to is not there. That shows that attachment is not there. As the events happen, he leaves them okay without being hanging on to it or attaching himself to them. And if you find that he hangs on to it, that pain creates in him udvega, that grief, or sukha creates in him spruha, then we know that he is a samsari. So he is not a samsari being devoid of udvega or spruha. Na abhinandati, na dveshti. No abhinandanam, no dvesha. If that is called samsara. So abhinandana is there, greeting, and dvesha, and then hating. So when you find that, that shows that samsara is there. This kind of samsaritam is no more with wise man. You find it there, na avagata brahmat bhavaha. That means he hasn't yet gained an abidance in the knowledge. The total abidance in knowledge is not there. Even if you accept that he is a wise person, still we accept that there is a pratibandhaka, an obstacle in the form of dehatma buddhi, or that habitual error is there. But then otherwise, samsaritvam is not there for the wise man. Iti anavadyam, and thus there is no ninda, there is no censure, there is no defect in what all we have said. That is being explained. Samanvaya Sutrartha, this Bhashyakara's conclusion of the Samanvaya Sutra, iti anavadyam. Samanvaya Sutrartha upasamhara vyajena tat sutra prathama varanakartham sphorayati brahmajnana. Samanvaya Sutrartha upasamhara vyajena. In the name of doing upasamhara or concluding this Samanvaya Sutra, the fourth Sutra, Sutrartha. So what is conveyed by the Sutra is being concluded here, and by way of that conclusion, tat sutra prathama varanakartham sphorayati. The prathama varanaka, with that, so first of all, the argument was against the Prabhakaras and the Bhattas, who said that Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat, Amnaya or the Vedas are only devoted to karma. They said that how the Tatparya of the Vedas, or Vedanta in particular, is in Brahma. Second Varnaka said, that was Vrittikara, that yes, that there is Vedanta has Tatparya in Brahma, but Brahma is presented by Vedantas not as independent thing, but as a part of the karma, namely Upasana. So Brahma is presented by the Vedanta as Upasya Vishaya and not presented as Swatantra Vishaya. That was the Dvitiya Varnaka. Of that, the conclusion of the first Varnaka is being stated here by Ratnaprabhakara by way of conclusion of this Sutrartha. Says therefore, iti anavadyam. What is anavadyam? That there is no fault. The whole thing is faultless. There is no fault here, or it doesn't involve any kind of a defect or a censure that you will find some kind of fault or defect in what we have stated. It is not nirdosham. Brahmatma jnanat muktilabhat siddham vedantanam pramanyam hita shasanat shastratvam cha nirdoshataya sthitam ityartha. So Vedantanam Brahmani Pramanyam, this was the Prathama Varanaka Artha. Brahmatma Jnanat Mukti Labhat. What is Pramanam? Phalavat Arthaparatvam is there. So Pramanyam is Ajnata Jnapakatvam and Phalavat Arthaparatvam. That is called a Pramana who makes us know a thing which cannot be otherwise known. Ajnata doesn't mean so far previously unknown. In general, that which cannot be known by other pramanam is made known by the pramana, and also that knowledge also is arthavat safalam. It also gives rise to its result. It is meaningfulness or fruitful. And there were various arguments were made that first of all that Vedanta does not have purport in Brahma, or Brahma Jnanam is meaningless or is fruitless. So to show how Brahma Jnana Mukti Labhat. Brahma Jnanat Mukti Lava. Safalatvam is there. By the very knowledge of Brahma, there is Mukti or liberation. Safalatvam is there. Siddham Vedantanam Pramanyam. And therefore, Vedanta, so Safalyam is there. Anarthakyam Atadarthanam. All those Vakyas that deal with things other than karma have Anarthakyam. They don't have Arthavatvam, Safalyam. We have shown that even though the Vedantas do not talk about karma, even then, and they talk about Brahma, then also there is Safalyam. that Brahma Jnana is a means for mukti, and that is how there is arthavatvam or meaningfulness in Vedanta. It is called Shastra. Shasanat Shastram or Shamsanat Shastram. So Hita Shasanat or Hita Shamsanat. On account of the fact that it teaches us or gives us instruction about what is Hita, what is most desirable by the human being. So they say that Swarga etc. is desirable, and Karma Kanda, since it gives instructions about that, that's what is Shastram. We say that even more desirable than Swarga is Moksha. And therefore Vedanta, because they give instruction about Moksha, Hita Shasanam, therefore it is Shastram. So Pramanyam also is there, and Shastratvam also is there. The Nirdoshataya, Anavadyam means what? Nirdoshataya Sthitam. So the Vedantanam Pramanyam and Shastratvam Nirdoshataya Sthitam. Anavadyam Nirdoshataya Sthitam. There is no dosha in the Pramanya or Shastratva of Vedanta. This was the conclusion of the Prasama Varnaka. Dvitiya Varnaka also will be stated subsequently. Now Ratnaprabha continues. Brahmajnanam uddishya shravanavat manana nidhyasanayoho api avantar vakya bhedena vidhyangikarat na brahmanah vidisheshatvam uddeshya jnana labhyataya pradhanyat bhava. Now the question was earlier raised. You have to go back to what is the page now here at the conclusion of the first Varnaka. 144. These last questions are being answered here. Page 144. See, there it is said, Kartavya Vidya Anupravesetu Vastumatra Kathane Hanopadana Sambhavat Saptadvipavasumadi Rajasau Gachati Ityadi Vakyavat Vedanta Vakyanam Anarthakyam Evasyat. That's why the Arthavatvam has been shown. Vastumatra Kathane bhi Rajjuhuyam Nayam Sarva Ityado Bhranti Janita Bhiti Nivartanena Arthavatvam Drishtam. So how even Yathatha Vastu Kathanam, Vastumatra Kathanam also can be meaningful. That has been shown here. Then it was said, Syade Tadevam Yadi Rajjuswarupa Shravanamatreana Iva Sarva Bhranti Samsarita Bhranti Brahmaswaruma Shravanamatreana Nivarteta Natu Nivartate. That's why the Jivan Mukti is discussed here. And we find that even for the wise man, the Bhranti doesn't seem to go. They seem to be functioning as before. They also seem to be samsaris. Says no, they are not samsaris. Samsaritvam is not in functioning through the body. Samsaritvam is in identification with the body, and therefore he is no more samsari. That has been said. Shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavya iti cha shravanottara kalayoho mananidhyasanayoho vidhidarshanat. We find that Shrotavya mantavya nididhyasitavya. If you say that Shravanam gives the aparoksha jnanam, then all right, you need not go further. If by Shravanam or listening to the scriptures, if that is a means for the knowledge, then what is the need for mananam and nididhyasanam? Mantavya nididhyasitavya. So Shrotavya is a vidhi, accepted. Drashtavya atma vare drashtavya, atma must be known. How? Shrotavya. That you must listen to the scriptures. That in that way there is a niyama vidhi. That not only Shravanam all right, but Shravanam of what? Shravanam of Upanishad. Whatever Shravanam implies, all of that is implied. Shravanam means Acharya Mukha Shravanam, listening to scriptures from the teacher, and listening to Shastra Shravanam, listening of the scriptures. So in that sense, you can listen to it, anything, tape recorders, etc., or whatever it is. Suppose, so anyway Shravanam comes, so then Vidhi comes here. That Shravanam must also take place in a certain manner. Adhikaritvam must be there, both on the part of the student as well as on the part of the teacher. And then, whatever all is implied by Shravanam is there, included in the Vidhi. But then, after, as a result of Shravanam, if the knowledge takes place, then what's the need for Mananam and Nididhyasanam? Why should we there have Mananam? Then Mantavya, it should be deliberated upon. that shows that you will do something with the knowledge. And there mananam they will interpret as a manasa kriya. Means some mental activity in the form of upasana must be done. Nididhyasitavya. Some dhyana or meditation must be done. That shows that the knowledge, Brahmajnanam itself is not fruitful. But to make Brahmajnanam really fruitful, the mananam and nididhyasana both are required. Both are mental activities. Therefore upasana is enjoined even in the Upanishad. If you say that manana mantavya and nididhyasitavya are separate vidhis, Shrotavya, Atma must be listened to, is one vidhi, one injunction. And mantavya, over and above that, a separate injunction is there that after the Shravanam, then mananam must be done, and then nididhyasanam must be done, and they are considered to be separate vidhis, creating separate phala. Separate, a vidhi is supposed to create adrishta. Whenever a vidhi enjoyment is given, when you follow that vidhi or that enjoyment and perform the action in accordance with the vidhi, then necessarily a punya or adrishta must be created. Vedas may ask you to elaborately do something, and suppose nothing happens because of it, you didn't get anything out of it. Then that vidhi has not served the purpose. That's the reason why Prabhakaras interpreted vidhi as apurva. The vidhi or injunction of the Veda has really fulfilled itself only when apurva or that punya is generated as a result of performance of this action. So suppose Shravanam is one vidhi, Mantavya is another vidhi, Nididhyasitavya is third vidhi, then Shravanam creates some adrishta, Mananam creates a different kind of adrishta. Otherwise, sometimes what happens is that angangi bhava is there. That you perform a certain ritual. As a part of the ritual, you perform some other secondary rituals also. And by performance of those rituals, the main ritual is complete. In that case, the main ritual and the secondary rituals enjoy a relationship which is what we call anga-angi bhava. So main ritual becomes angi, other secondary rituals become anga. And anga, that is how contribute. So main ritual will create a phala, and the secondary rituals will add to that phala, and that is how the ultimate result will come. Not that they create a phala of their own, separately or independently, but then they create a phala in conjunction with the phala of the main ritual, and that is how they will enhance, no doubt. The anga, when you perform the secondary rituals, the result will be enhanced. But even if you don't do that, some result will come. So even if you don't do those secondary rituals, some result you will get because of this. If you do them, then the result is enhanced. That's the idea of these secondary rituals. So here, mantavya, nididhyasitavya, if they are independent things, independent rituals, then they should create an adrishta of their own or apurva of their own, in which case they should give rise to a result separate from the result that is gained by Shravanam. If this is so, then Shravanam is not enough. Then something else is required, then yet something else is required, in which case, the having gained the Brahmajnanam, you must do something with it. Having now listened to scriptures, I am doing sadhana. That kind of stuff, and therefore something else has to be done to create some other kind of a adrishta. And that is what the Purvapakshi said. And here the Siddhanta has to say that Mananam and Nididhyasanam is only a part of Shravanam and not having an independent status, in the sense that Mananam also is a part of Shravanam. It just completes Shravanam. Nididhyasanam also part of Shravanam. It does complete the job of Shravanam. And therefore in a rare case, even Mananam, Nididhyasanam may not even be required. If absolutely the right kind of mind is there without any other obstacle, then Mananam, Nididhyasanam is not required theoretically. That shows that Shravanam has capability of completely giving rise to the result. But when that theoretical case is not there, some obstacles are there, that Mananam and Nididhyasanam, what they do is, they eliminate the obstacles in Shravanam. So Manana and Nididhyasana actually eliminate the obstacles of Shravanam and create real ground for Shravanam. So we would say that even then also, knowledge has taken place only by Shravanam. That in Shravanam some doubts are there. Therefore Shravanam doesn't take place properly. And Dehata Buddhi is there, habitual error is there. Therefore Shravanam doesn't become effective. So when those obstacles are eliminated by Mananam and Nididhyasanam, then Shravanam really works. Then you can say Shravanam is completed, then knowledge takes place. If you interpret that way, then it's okay. And that is how Manana and Nididhyasana really only removes the obstacles and clears all the ground for Shravanam to be effective. And therefore, they are not independent of Shravanam. They are helpful in Shravanam. And that's the point that is now the discussion here comes. Says Bhashyakara, Yat punaruktam Shravanat Parachinayoho Manana Nididhyasanayoho Darshanat Vidisheshatvam Brahmanaha Naswarupa Paryavasayittvamiti. Yet punaruktam, whatever the Purvapakshi had said now, all of them are now in conclusion being brought up. That was which was said earlier. Shravanat Parachinayoho Manana Nidhyasanayoho. Parachina means Uttarkala Bhavayoho. So Shravanat Parachina, Arvachina and Parachina. Parachina which takes place later. That Manana Nididhyasanayoho. Manana and Nididhyasana which take place after the Shravanam. Darshanat, we say that after the Shravanam, Mananam must take place as a rule, as a vidhi, and Nididhyasanam must also take place as a vidhi. Vidisheshatvam Brahmanaha. So Brahma also is Vidisheshatvam. Becomes what? Shesha. Shesha means it becomes also an accessory to vidhi. It also becomes connected to the vidhi, that Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya, some other kind of manasa kriyas are there, and Brahman is presented as associated with those manasa kriyas. Na swarupa paryavasayitvam. That by Shravanam, that knowledge of Brahman is gained, that is not enough. But that Brahman which has been known by Shravanam also again, that knowledge must be applied in some mental activity called Mananam and Nididhyasanam in order to get the ultimate result. This was what was said earlier. Then Ratnaprabha says here, Brahmajnanam uddishya Shravanavat Manana Nididhyasanayoho api Avantara Vakya Bhedana Vidyangikarat. Brahmajnanam uddishya, keeping in mind Brahmajnanam, Shravanavat, what is the purpose? Atmavare Drashtavya. Drashtavya means what? Drashtavya, darshanam there is Brahmajnanam. So Atmavare Drashtavya. Keeping that darshanam in mind, Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya. So Shrotavya, Atma must be listened to. That was for what purpose? For darshanam, Brahmajnanam. So keeping Brahmajnanam in mind, how Shravanam or Atma or Shrotavya, that vidhi was given, that you must listen to the scriptures. That alright, Atma must be known. How will it be known? By different means are maybe available. So maybe I will do some pranayama. All kinds of things can perhaps be done by a person. So the Upanishad Shrotavya. That this is the only way it should be done. And therefore the Shrotavya, that vidhi of Shravanam, is keeping in mind the Darshana or Brahmajnanam. So it is accepted that Shravana is a vidhi, keeping in mind the Brahmajnanam or Atma Darshanam. And Shravanavat, like Shravanam, Manana Nididhyasanayoho api Avantara Vakya Bhedena. There are Mukhya Vakya. Shrotavya becomes Mukhya Vakya. Drashtavya becomes Mukhya Vakya. And Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya, all of them become then what? Helpful Vakyas. And particularly Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya, they become only helpful in Shravanam. They do not have the primary importance there, but they only have secondary importance there. Avantara Vakya Bhedena Vidyangikarat na Brahmanaha Vidisheshatvam. Therefore we say that it is not that Mananam and Nididhyasanam are doing something with Brahmajnanam. Having gained Brahmajnanam, then Manana and Nididhyasana is not. Meaning having gained that Nishtha. If Brahmajnanam is spontaneous knowledge of Brahman, then it means Jnana Nishtha. That having acquired that Jnana Nishtha, then you should do Mananam Nididhyasana. That is not so. But in order to gain that, whatever obstacles there are in Jnana Nishtha, to remove the obstacles are Mananam Nididhyasanam. And therefore, उद्देश्य ज्ञान लभ्यतया प्राधान्यात्. So na vidishe brahmanah na vidisheshatvam. Brahma is not shesha or Brahma is not part of the vidhi. Uddeshya jnana labhyataya pradhanyat. Brahmanah pradhanyat. Brahma remains pradhanam in shravanam, mananam and nididhyasanam. Otherwise Brahma will become secondary. Let us say that in Atmavare drashtavya, that Atma must be known, Brahman is pradhanam as an object of knowledge. Shrotavya, it must be listened to as in order to complete, in order to bring about that knowledge. And now, having gained the knowledge of Brahman by Shravanam, then suppose you to apply that knowledge and do some upasana, etc., or some mananam, then that knowledge becomes helpful in doing the act of mananam. Meaning Brahma becomes helpful in doing the act of mananam. Then Brahma has a secondary role to play there. You see, Brahma Jnanam has a secondary role to play. Primary role is mananam. And then if you have to do nididhyasanam, then whatever result is gained from mananam becomes nearly a factor in accomplishing the task of nididhyasanam. So, Shravanam, Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya, if each one of them is taken as separate vidhis, then Shrotavya, as a result of Shravanam, whatever result comes, that becomes a necessary part in accomplishing the act of mananam, and then whatever comes becomes a necessary part in accomplishing the act of nididhyasanam. And if you say that by Shravanam Brahmajnanam comes totally, in that case, that Brahmajnanam becomes a component in accomplishment of whatever is meant by mananam, in which case Brahmajnanam becomes a component, anga or secondary. So Brahma then becomes anga also by way of aiding the act of mananam. On the other hand, we say mananam is for the sake of knowing Brahman. It's not that Brahman aids the act of mananam, but mananam aids the act of knowing Brahma. In that sense, mananam is secondary and not Brahma. So if mananam were the kriya independent of Shravanam, in that case, Brahman would have become an aiding factor for mananam. On the other hand, we say that mananam is for clarity of the knowledge, and therefore Brahman still remains primary there. Uddeshya jnana labhyataya. Uddeshya is Brahma. So Brahma jnana labhyataya. Since mananam also adds or aids in the Brahma jnanam, therefore Brahmanah pradhanyat. In mananam also Brahma remains pradhanam. In nididhyasanam also Brahma remains, because uddeshyam. Uddeshya is pradhanam. So says here Purnanandiya, Mantavya nididhyas, first line, Mantavya nididhyasitavya iti avantara vakya bhedana ityartha, page 192. So this avantara vakya says Atmavare drashtave ityadikam atra mahavakyam iti vijnayam. What is it? Atmavare drashtave is the principal statement. And then Shrotavya, Mantavya, nididhyasitavya are those things which actually enable us to fulfill what has been said by drashtavya. So darshanam is required, is to be done. And for doing darshanam, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, all of them are stated as those things to be done for the sake of darshanam. So Brahma darshanam is the primary thing for which shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, all of them are the aids, of which shravana is the primary and mananam and nididhyasanam are the aids. This is how the now that is explained by Ratnavara himself. Shravanam Jnana Karana Vedanta Gocharatvat Pradhanam. Says Brahmatma Vishayaka Shabda Jnane Karanatvena Vedanta Rupa Shabdasya Pradhanyam. So first of all, Brahmatma Vishayaka Shabda Jnane Karanatvena Vedanta Rupa Shabdasya Pradhanyam. Atma Vare Drashtavya. First one. Atma must be known. So how can Atma be known? Drashtavya does not mean it has to be perceived or has to be visualized by mind. Drashtavya is to be known. Avishayataya Drashtavya. And therefore, the only pramanam there is Shabda. So darshanam there is Shabda Bodha. Atma Vare Drashtavya, the darshanam there is Shabda Bodha. the knowledge that takes place as a result of the Shabda. And what is that Shabda? Vedanta. So Brahmatma Vishayaka Shabda Jnane Karanatvena Vedanta Rupa Shabdasya Pradhanyam. Shabda there is Vedanta. Vedanta, which is a body of the words. In Atma Darshanam, the Pradhanyam, the principal role that is to be played is by Vedanta. Tad Gocharatvena Shravana Jnana Karanam. So it says connection here, Shravanam Jnana Karanam Sat Pradhanam Ityartha. Tad Gocharatvena. Then, so Vedanta has its Vishaya in Brahma. Then Vedanta itself becomes the Vishaya of Shravanam. Idea is when you are listening to the scriptures, then what are you listening to? Shravanam, when you are doing Shravana or listening to or performing a deliberation upon Brahma, with the help of what? With the help of Vedanta. So Vedanta becomes the Vishaya of deliberation of Shravanam, Vichara. So Shravanam then has its Vishaya in Vedanta. That's how it says. Tad Gocharatvena Shravanam Jnana Karanam Sat Pradhanam. The primary Jnana Karanam or primary means of knowledge is Vedanta. But how does Vedanta become the means of knowledge? Only when the Tatparya Nishchaya is done. Only when you understand the Shabda can give us knowledge. Only when we understand the meaning of the Shabda. A word will not give us knowledge unless the Tatparya, the purport of that word or the sentence is understood. Otherwise you hear any sentence and the knowledge should take place. If the Shabda was able to give knowledge in that sense, it does give. But when does Shabda give the knowledge? If it is Pramanam, it should give knowledge. When? When necessary conditions are satisfied. That is, when the mind has the ability to do the Tatparya Nirnaya or the understanding, the purport of the sentence. If it is not there, because either sentence is in a language that you don't understand, then you should understand language. Having known the language also, it is said in a manner which you don't understand. Then you must know the Lakshana Vritti, etc. There are various ways of saying things you don't follow. What did he say? I didn't understand what you said the other day. I said it, but I meant this, Sometimes you use a word, not in a primary sense, but in a secondary sense. In which sense the word is used, all of that has to be understood. So, Shabda can only give rise to knowledge when the Tatparya Nishchaya is done. Otherwise, Shabda or Vakya cannot give rise to knowledge. And how can you do Tatparya Nishchaya? By Vichara, Shravanatmaka Vichara. And therefore, that Vedanta, which is the primary means for knowledge of Brahman, still Vedanta can become means only when Shravanam or Vichara, Shabda Vichara, that Vichara, Vakya Vichara is done. And that is how Shravanam has its Vishaya in Vedanta. Shravanam is pertaining to Vedanta. So, Tat Gocharatvena Shravanam Jnanakaranam. Vedanta is primarily Jnanakaranam. But Tat Gocharatvena, by way of doing Tatparya Nishchaya and understanding Vedanta, Shravanam also becomes Jnanakaranam. Sat Pradhanam. So Shravanam is Pradhanam there. That's what Ratnavara says. Shravanam Jnanakarana Vedanta Gocharatva Vedanta Vishayatva. So Jnanakaranam is Vedanta or Vedanta. So Vedanta is Jnanasya Karanam. Means the primary means for knowledge is Vedanta. Karanam is the primary means. Asadharanam Karanam, without which you cannot do something. There are many sadharana karanas are there. For performance of a task, many other secondary things are required. For Vedanta also, apart from Shravana, you require a classroom, you require many other things. You require time also. Even the Adhikaritvam also is required. So all of those things are required. But then, if Shravanam is not there, if everything is there and still Shravana is not there, knowledge will not take place. For example, Pakasya Vanniva Jnanam. For cooking, that Vanni is Karanam, primary or unavoidable means. What you cannot avoid. Other things you can get around perhaps, in some way. But what you cannot avoid is called Karanam Asadharanam Karanam. Like for cooking, you cannot do without fire. In one form or the other. Swami is solar cooking. That is also fire. So fire in one form or the other is required for cooking to take place. Otherwise it's not cooking. Otherwise it's decaying and stuff like that. So cooking takes place only by fire. Otherwise things will rot. That's a different thing. That's not cooking. Unless your cooking is of that kind, that's a different thing. But otherwise, just as the fire is a primary means of cooking, that's called asadharanam karanam, unavoidable. So also, that Vedanta is unavoidable as far as Jnanam is concerned. So Jnana karanam is Vedanta, and where Vedanta becomes a Vishaya, or Vedanta is what becomes the very basis for, that Vishaya means a basis for Shravanam or Vakya Vichara is based on Vedanta, and therefore Shravanam is pertaining to Vedanta. Therefore Vedanta is called the Vishaya of Shravanam. In that sense, Brahma becomes the Vishaya of Vedanta, and Vedanta becomes the Vishaya of Shravanam. Then we will say Shravanam becomes Vishaya of Mananam, and Mananam becomes Vishaya of Nididhyasanam. In that sense, Mananam only helps Shravanam, and then Nididhyasanam helps Mananam, and this is how the explanation is. Okay, Shravanam, Jnana Karana, Vedanta Gocharatvat Pradhanam. Of course, Vedantas have the Pradhanyam, but having accepted the Pradhanyam of the Vedanta as the only means of knowledge of Brahma, then Shravanam becomes the next important thing. Manana Nididhyasanayoho Prameya Gocharatvat Tadangatvam. By Shravanam, Prameya or Brahma is known, and Brahman that is known then you do something with Brahman means Brahma Jnanam. Whatever obstacles are there are eliminated by Mananam and Nididhyasanam. And therefore, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, they are centered around Brahma. Shravanam is centered around Vedanta. Vedanta is centered around Brahma, of course, or Darshanam rather. Vedanta is centered around Brahma Darshanam. Shravanam is centered around Vedanta. Manana and Nididhyasana are centered around Brahma, which is the object of knowledge as a result of Shravanam. And therefore, Shravanam is pertaining to the whole Vedanta, and Vedanta being primary, therefore Shravanam also becomes primary. Whereas Manana and Nididhyasana, they are only centered around Brahma and not around Vedanta. In that sense, Prameya Gocharatvat Tadangatvam. Since Brahman is known through Shravanam, and Manana and Nididhyasanam are only centered around Brahman that is known from Shravanam, therefore Tadangatvam. We say that Manana and Nididhyasana are what we call Anga, or they are only helpful aids for Shravanam. Niyama adrushtasya jnane upayogah sarvapeksha nyayadita mantavyam. So niyama adrushtasya, says Purnanandya, niyama vidhi pakshe vedanta vakya hi eva shravanam kartavyam iti akaraga niyamasya adrushtadvara jnane upayogah. Atmavara drashtavya, Atma must be known. Then Shrotavya must be listened to. Everybody knows that it must be listened to. Then this Shrotavya is accepted as Niyama Vidhi. As a rule, you must do the listening in a certain way. Not some other kind of scriptures. But then, Vedanta Vakya eva Shravanam Kartavyam. If you say that Atma will be known by Shravanam, somebody may choose to do Shravana of any kinds of Shastras. He says, no, Vedanta Vakya eva Shravanam Kartavyam. So there is a niyama there. The Shravana must be by Vedanta Vakya alone. Iti akaraka niyamasya. Then whenever there is a niyama, there must be some reason why they say that. That when you listen to Upanishads, as compared to listening to other kinds of texts, there must be something special there. Otherwise the niyama will not, if all of them give us the same result, then niyama will not be there. As a rule, the person who is ill should take this medicine or eat a certain food. We say that. Since you have fever, therefore you should eat this food and not some other food. That means that eating that food gives rise to some specific result which other things will not give rise to. Therefore you should eat shiro, they say, for a particular disease and not something else. That means that shira, eating that, gives rise to a certain kind of an effect which is not gained by some other food. If any food would have been okay, then there would be no need to say that eat this alone. But only a particular kind of food gives rise to a particular kind of result in a given situation, and therefore niyama or a rule is made. As a rule, everybody must return home by 8:30. Then there was some advantage of doing it. If some advantage is not there, then the rule has no meaning. Those who come by 8:30 will get food, and those fellows who return after that will not get food, suppose. Then the rule has a meaning, otherwise there is no rule. So, see, whenever a rule is made, there must be some specific gain because of that rule. By following the rule, the fellow who follows the rule should gain something. If you don't gain, then what's the big deal? Before April 15, or whatever it is, you must all file your income tax return. What's the gain there? If by filing return in December also, if the same thing is there, no. You will get a certain discount. If you make payment within 30 days, then 3% discount. So make payment in 30 days, then some rule is then, some gain is there, 30% discount. Or, if you make payment after 30 days, then 3% surcharge or something. Otherwise, if that adrushta is not there, then rule will never work. It is not a rule. Okay, what is the big deal? Why should I return in 30 days? Then your credit, next time you will not be given credit. Something must be there. Whenever you make a rule, there must be some extra result that comes as a result of following that rule. Otherwise, rules have no meaning. Then why should he come in time? And so if he transgress the rule also, then also if there is no punishment or by following the rule there is no gain, why should anybody follow? Then it's not called rule. So niyama must necessarily create an adrushta. Some unseen result or some extra result benefit must be created. Therefore when they say that you must listen to Upanishads, listening to Upanishad must have something about it which listening to other scriptures do not have. And therefore, listening to Vedanta must create some adrushta, which adrushta must have a role to play in generating the knowledge. Otherwise, that adrushta also must play a role. Says, Niyamasya, so Vedanta Vakya hi eva shravanam kartavyam ityakaraga Niyamasya adrushta dvara jnane upyogaha. When you listen to Vedanta, then adrushta is created, which becomes then helpful in the knowledge. Jnana upayogaha. Tasacha uddeshyatvat jnanam, not ajnanam but jnanam, sarvapradhanam bhavati. Uddeshyatvat. Since uddeshya, Brahma is there, is the main, Brahma is that which is kept in mind, jnanam sarvapradhan. Therefore darshanam. Atmavara drashtavya. That darshanam become in jnanam is sarvapradhanam. Shravana apekshaya Vedanta Shastram tu pradhanam. Since darshanam requires Vedanta Shastra, therefore it is pradhanyam, and Shravanam then becomes the secondary. Manana apekshaya Shravanam tu pradhanam. Since Mananam cannot be carried out, and so Shravanam cannot be done unless Vedanta is there, therefore Vedanta is pradhanyam. Since Mananam cannot be carried out unless Shravanam is done, therefore Shravanam is pradhanyam. If you could carry out Mananam without Shravanam, then it's fine. But Mananam is not possible unless Shravanam is done. In that case, Mananam becomes secondary, Shravanam becomes primary. And you cannot carry out Shravanam unless Vedanta is, in which case Vedanta becomes primary, Shravanam becomes secondary. And Vedanta would have no need unless Jnana was possible, if they were the Pramanic. So Jnana is the primary, Vedanta is secondary. And Jnana also would have no meaning unless that gave rise to Moksha. Moksha is primary. So Moksha is Pradhanam, Jnanam is an aid. Jnanam is Pradhanam, Vedanta is aid. Vedanta is Pradhanam, Shravana is aid. To enables us to do Tatparya Nirnayam. Shravanam is Pradhanam, Mananam is aid to remove obstacles. Manam is Pradhanam, then Nididhyasanam, or Shravana again is Pradhanam, then Nididhyasanam becomes aid to eliminate other kind of obstacles. Or Nididhyasanam helps both Shravanam and Mananam. In that sense also it can be said. Therefore, iyams to Vishesha. However, this Vishesha is there. Shravanam prati mananadikamangam jnanam prati niyamadi adrushtam karanamiti. Shravanam prati mananadikamangam. that manana nidhyasana becomes the anga for Shravanam. This is a Vivarana Siddhanta, So, which Siddhanta are we discussing here? Vivarana Prasthanam. So, Shravanam prati mananadikam angam. Towards Shravanam, manana and nidhyasana become anga. Jnanam prati niyama adrushtam karanam. But adrushta, shrotavya. The shrotavya gives you a niyama that you must listen to the scriptures alone, Vedanta alone and not something else, which must create some adrushta, which becomes the karanam for jnanam. By Shravanam. Iti. It is sarva apeksha nyayadita mantavyam. There is a nyaya, sūtra. What is it? Purnananda quotes there. Sarva apeksha cha yajñādi shrutehe ashvavat iti bhagavatah Shri Veda Vyasasya Sūtram. In 3rd chapter, 4th pada, 6th adhikarana, 26th sutra. That's how it goes. Sarva apeksha cha yajñādi shrutehe ashvavat iti bhagavatah Shri Veda Vyasasya Sūtram. Tasya artha himself gives the meaning of that sutra. Sarva apeksha means what? Sarva karmanam jnana sadhanatva bodhikayaha tametam vedanuvachanena ityadi shrutehe ityartha apeksha. Sarva apeksha, sarva karmanam apeksha. Because there is a statement in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad again. Tametam vedanuvachanena brahmanaha vividishanti yajnena danena tapasa anashakena. So yajna, dana and tapas means all the karma. That's all what a pious person will do. Who is devoted to jnanam will be doing this shravanam, the yajna, dana and tapas. And so all these yajnena, dana and tapasa, this kind of actions, brahmanaha vividishanti. That brahmanas seek to know Brahman. Therefore, the shravana, yajna, dana and tapa are presented there as means of knowledge. That means that the yajna, dana, tapasya, these kriyas also have something to contribute to the reference to knowledge of Brahma. Therefore, sarva apeksha, sarva karmanam apeksha, yajna, dana, tapa, all these kriya have apeksha, have a role to play, have something to contribute with a reference to Brahma Jnanam. So until Brahma Jnanam takes place, this should be done. That's what it means also. Jnana sadhanatva bodhikayaha. So this particular Shruti, tametam vedanuvachanena, is jnana sadhanatva bodhika. That makes us know what is jnana sadhanam. Yajnena, danena, tapasa. In the instrumental case. Instrumental case is for sadhanam. Therefore, yajna, dana, tapas, all these karmas are presented as jnana sadhanam. So this Shruti, yajnena, danena, tapasa, by her own way, directly Shruti says that these are karanam, or the means. So, jnana sadhanatva bodhika Shruti. That statement, by its very words, conveys that yajna, dana, and tapaha, they are jnana sadhanani, vividishanti. Okay, therefore, sarva apeksha, meaning all the yajnadi shrutehe. Yajnadi shruti is this, yajnena, danena, tapasa, anashakena. By the Shruti, sarva apeksha. Then ashvavat. Sutrakara gives an illustration. Ashvavat. That is important. Illustration is important. Like a horse. Says there ashvavat iti. No, nanu vidyayaha svautpattau paramparaya karma apekshavat mokshevi tad apekshastu. Then somebody raises a question. That is vidya or brahmajnanam, as you said, requires yajna, dana and tapaha for its arising. Svautpattau. For the knowledge to take place, if there is a need or if there is a necessity of doing yajna, dana, tapaha, so parampara karma apekshavat, we say that yajna, dana, tapaha actually create vividisha, meaning the desire to know, and then shravanam creates the knowledge. But in any case, the yajna, dana, tapaha says paramparaya karma apekshavat, vidya or the knowledge had the apeksha or the need for yajna, dana, tapaha in order for antakarana knowledge to take place through antakarana shuddhi. Mokshebi tadapekshastu. So just as Brahmajnanam has a dependence upon these performs of karma for its arising, similarly also we say that moksha also has dependence upon yajna, dana, tapaha. That after Brahmajnanam also yajna, dana, tapaha, all of that should be continued. iti tadapekshastu ityatah ashvavat. He says no. Like a horse. What is it? Yatha ashvaha yogyata balat rathacharyayam niyujyate na langala karmani tadabhavat tadvat karmanam mokshe yogyatayaha bhavat na apekshate ityartah. Just as a horse is employed for pulling a chariot, not for pulling a plough. Their bullock is there. Because Ashwa does not have yogyata for pulling the plough. The kind of strength that is required, which a bullock has, a horse does not have. And therefore, horse has yogyata. As far as pulling of a chariot is concerned, does not have yogyata in pulling a plough. Therefore, it is true that yajna, dana, tapasya, karma are required because they have certain yogyata, only the reference to generating knowledge, but they do not have yogyata with aiding the knowledge rather, they do not have yogyata for aiding moksha. And therefore, yajna, dana, tapasya, all these karmas are there only with reference to creation of the knowledge, but not, they are no more required for aiding the moksha, otherwise jnana karma samuchaya would have been there. So, tadvat karmanam moksha yogyataya bhavat na apekshate. Therefore, mukti, that is moksha, does not have any expectation nor depends upon karma because moksha yogyataya bhavat, the karmas do not have any yogyata with reference to moksha. That was the idea there. तथा च ज्ञानोत्पत्तौ नियमदृष्टिं कारणं न मोक्षोत्पत्तौ अयोग्यत्वात्. Just as horse is a cause for or a means for pulling the chariot, not for pulling the plough, so also karma is helpful in generating the knowledge, but not in aiding the moksha. Ayogyatvat yogyata bhavat. Iti atra sarvapeksha nyaya upaditah iti mantavyam. And therefore, this is how in the sarvapeksha nyaya. So here also, in that Shravanam, in Mananam and Nidhyasana, the Niyama, Adrushta is created because of Shravanam, and that aids the knowledge, but no aid is required as far as moksha is concerned. And so, Sarvapeksha Nyayat the Mantavyam. So, Niyam Adrushtasya Gnani Upayogaha. Yes. So, some kind of Adrushta is created. That's why they always say Shravanam. Paunaf Punyana, Shravanam Kuryat. Even listening to Upanishad itself creates some Adrushta, according to that, which in course of time will have its effect. And that is how Paunaf Punyena Shravanam Kuryat. Sanyasya Shravanam Kuryat. Giving up everything else, do this. So in Rishikesh, sadhus do this Shravanam. As a rule, they go to the satsang, Swadhyaya. In Kailas Ashram, Swadhyaya is going on every morning. Formerly, Harihar Tirthaji used to conduct classes, used to sit there and conduct Swadhyaya. And sadhus used to come. They sit there, doze off. Some of them can read, some of them cannot even read. Many of them are dozing off. Most of them don't understand, and some of them do, of course. But they come as a rule. Sanyasya Shravanam Kuryat. Having renounced everything else, may you now listen to the scriptures. And with a great patience, Harihartha Tirthaji also will conduct classes with them for years together. If they don't, they ask them to read something. And they ask all kinds of questions, we also very patiently will be answered. And that is how that Swadhyaya was a great boon for all that kind of sadhu. Those people who are, like this, they will think, this is very slow, and what's going on here? But for the rest of the sadhus, with the many, that Swadhyaya was a great boon. Because no great expectation was from them, that you must memorize what we did yesterday, and you must necessarily understand what we are saying, and you must be attentive, etc. No such expectation. Imagine that teacher, Here we just get upset when people don't attend to what we are saying, We expect that everybody's attention should be here. If people are doing this, then you don't like it. And many vaktas say, even if a person moves, then also he said it disturbs the speaker, because it upsets, it disturbs his concentration. And so that's what people say, कि हाँ हृदय में एक धक्का लगता है जब कोई जाता है, etc. Anyway, that's kind of that. Harihar Tirthaji Maharaj, kuch bhi nahi hai. People come, they go, they are there, they are listening, not listening, attentive, not attentive, asking questions, whatever. Sab kuch chalta hai. People feel greatly at home in that case, because no expectation at all. Like in Katha, you can come, you can go, you can talk, you can do mala, you can do japa, all kinds of things, sab chalta hai. Dongre Maharaj is sitting there, Katha is going on, He is not even perhaps looking at anybody what it is. His lala is looking what, and therefore, so all of that has a certain value. Come to the Gita discourses and then, don't talk, no children, no this, no that, don't come late. There is a lot of strain there, So anyway, it has its own value, no doubt about that, because there are adhikaris are different. But regardless of that, Sanyasya Shravanam Kurya. That's how sadhus do Shravanam for years together. And they expose themselves to this teaching. And that is why apparently Shravanam or listening to these scriptures, Upanishads or Vedanta must definitely have a certain effect which it creates, which becomes helpful in knowledge. That's what they say. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So you can, the volume. To Samanvayad. Page 191. Line last but one. Punaruktam Shravanat Parachinayoho Mananidhyasanayoho Darshanat Vidisheshatvam Brahmanaha Naswarupa Paryavasayittvamiti Na Shravanavata Avagatyarthatvat Manana Nididhyasanayoho Yat Punaruktam Shravanat Parachinayoho Manana Nididhyasanayoho Darshanat. We find Manana Nididhyasana occurring after Shravana, Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya. And all this Tavya Pratyaya indicates a vidhi, an injunction, something to be done. And therefore we feel that after Shrotavya, meaning after doing the Shravanam, when the knowledge has been gained, Mantavya, then something has to be done with knowledge. Brahman that is known, such something has to be done mentally by way of Mananam and Nididhyasanam. And therefore we say that because of this vidhi of Manana and Nididhyasana, we say that Brahma is not taught Naswarupa Paryavasayittvamiti, that it is not merely the knowledge of Brahman that is the purport of the Vedanta, but then some kind of mental activity also is called for after knowledge of Brahman. And therefore, knowledge itself is not the means for moksha, but knowledge which after all is processed with some kind of a karma, mental activity, alone becomes a means for moksha, meaning jnana karma samuchaya. Or the jnanam has to be processed by way of karma. And the ultimate thing that really gives moksha is that karma which is mananam nididhyasanam. Answer to that is na shravanavat avagatyarthatvat manana nididhyasanayoho. This is important. Shravanavat, like Shravanam. What is the purpose of Shravanam? Avagati. Avagati means knowledge. Purpose of Shravanam is knowledge of Brahman, which everyone accepts. Tadvat, in the same manner, Manana Nididhyasanayoho Avagatyarthatvat. Even Manana and Nididhyasana are also meant for knowledge. The idea is that Shravana is meant for knowledge, is a primary means for knowledge, but Mananam, Nididhyasanam also are meant for knowledge alone, not for something else. That's the idea. Says Shravanam Jnana Karana Vedanta Gocharatvat Pradhanam Manana Nididhyasanayoho Prameya Gocharatvat Tadangatvam. Shravanam Jnana Karana Vedanta Gocharatvat Pradhanam. Jnana Karanam, the means for Jnanam, primary means is Vedanta. Shabda, as it said. Brahmatma Vishayaka Shabda Jnane Karanatvena Vedanta Rupa Shabdasya Pradhanyam. Vedanta Rupa Shabda is pradhanam, which refers as the means of knowledge of Brahma. Tat gocharatvena shravanam jnanakaranam sat pradhanam. And inasmuch as it is shravanam, which is called vichara, by which the shabda bodha is acquired, that shabda can give rise to knowledge only when the tatparya of the shabda is ascertained. That's the reason why always they say that shravanam is nothing but tatparya nischaya. By all the various linga, by upakrama, upasamhara, etc., by its linga, tatparya nirnaya, ascertaining the purport of the Vedanta, ascertaining the purport of Upanishad is the purpose of shravanam. So one knows what is. So now that Shabda is a Pramana, that means knowledge actually. Tatparya Nischaya, not some kind of a vague or a general understanding. The idea is, whenever the Tatparya of the Shabda is understood, then Shabda gives rise to knowledge. Even the words which are being spoken right now, when the Tatparya, the purport of these words is understood, then the words reveal their meanings in our mind. For understanding Tatparya, various things are required. You require the discipline of language, meaning the grammar and everything else, and also the samskara of understanding the particular subject matter that is being revealed. And if that requires preparation in the mind, in terms of perhaps an attention, a single pointedness or concentration, all of that is called for in order to understand the Tatparya. To understand the Tatparya of the scriptures, it is necessary to possess a certain kind of mind. Therefore, this Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti is called for. And also it possesses, there is a need for certain basic disciplines of language. That's the reason Vyakaranam, etc. is required. So then alone we can understand this and understand what we call the meaning of the statements or sentences. It also requires Nyaya. It also requires reasoning as to how the words reveal their meanings and how to understand the meanings, and different vrittis are there. So, Lakshana Vritti, etc., primary meanings, secondary meanings, all of that discipline becomes necessary. And even all that is being discussed now, as to arrive at the Tatparya of the purport, whether Amnayasya Kriya Tattvad, whether Tatparya is in Kriya, or whether Tatparya is in Jnanam, that means one has to understand the nature of moksha, one has to understand the nature of Atma. It requires understanding of the whole life ultimately. Because Vedanta talks about the life, and therefore one has to understand life in its entirety essentially, in order to understand the Tatparya or the purport of Vedanta as to what is the truth of life. That's the reason why ascertaining Tatparya or the purport requires so much amount of study. It is basically nothing but making the mind see. The mind sees the meaning of the statements of Vedanta, and for the mind to see, all these discussions and all the disciplines are necessary. Then alone the mind can understand the meaning of a statement. How much time have we spent with English language and with grammar and with so much in order for us to understand the meaning of the statements in English language? Then much more discipline is required to understand the statements of English language in a discipline like engineering, medicine or physics. So not only that English language is required, but the background of physics is required. And depends upon what we understand by physics. And that is how it will take person perhaps right up to Brahman. Because what is that physicist is trying to do? If you see that it is nothing but the search of truth, you know that physics will become metaphysics. So the idea is that Tatparya Nirnaya calls for a total understanding. This is the idea. And that is Shravanam. So Shravanam is Tatparya Nischaya. But Tatparya Nischaya is not repeating Jiva Brahmaikya. Seeing Jiva Brahmaikya will be really. Because when you see that the Tatparya is understood of a Shabda. So seeing Jiva Brahmaikya is what Shravanam does. That's knowledge. Then what does Mananam do? Whatever, some kind of obstacles are there with the knowledge. Because when the mind is clear, then this knowledge also is there. Mind is not always clear because there are certain difficulties with the mind in terms of doubts, etc. And therefore, we require yet further processing of this very knowledge. What we have understood in a particular context, in a particular frame of mind, needs to be further, we need to gain clarity in every state of mind. Meaning, with reference to various questions, various conditions. Depending on what my own mind says with reference to practical experiences, that yes, Tatpara Nirnaya is Jiva Brahma Aikya, but then there are questions or doubts are raised pertaining to our own understanding with reference to different experiences of life. How can it be? If Jiva is Brahma, how can this be so and how can that be so? And these questions have to be resolved. And also if Jiva and Brahma are one, then how come this person says this and that person says that? And all of those, since our mind will be bothered by them. If our mind is not bothered, you need not do Mananam. If what somebody else says, Mimamsaka says or Niyayika says or Rajanish says, it doesn't matter to you, then no Mananam is required. Only if doubts are there, and if what we have clearly understood is muddled up in our own mind, that clarity, then alone the Mananam is required to remove whatever obstacles are there to this clarity. So Mananam gives clarity. Therefore, Avagatyarthatvam, that also is only for knowledge in as much as to give clarity to this knowledge. And what does Nididhyasanam do? It removes what we call the Viparita Buddhi or the habitual error, because the samskaras are there of the Dehata Buddhi, and it does take its own time to overcome the samskaras. And that may be the longest time also, perhaps. To overcome the samskara of the Dehata Buddhi, it may take any length of time, because the habit. But then, it's all a part of the Antahkarana Shuddhi. Even strong Dehata Buddhi itself is Ashuddhi. So, Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha ultimately. That strong Dehata Buddhi alone is Abhinivesha. So, in course of Antahkarana Shuddhi, even one does. Otherwise, Shamadhi Shatka Sampati is not possible. When a strong identification is there with the body, and with whatever one has, it's not possible to have a mind which enjoys Shama or a quietude. Or to enjoy a mind which has or enjoy a personality which is composed like Damaha. So understand, all of that will require essentially, to a large extent, overcoming the doubts and Viparita Buddhi also. We keep repeating Shama, Mano Nigraha, Damaha, Bahyendra, etc. But when you do these things, then you find that the mind is disturbed not only by the Vishaya, Akarshana, etc. That's all gross stuff. But the mind is disturbed by many other things, by many of our own internal complexes. Now nobody is interested in Vishaya. Who cares for music and stuff like that, or movies? Nobody cares. That doesn't mean that we enjoy a mind that is quiet, because there are many other things that have to be worked out. Within ourselves, so many complexes are there. And these complexes create a lot of disturbance. Those complexes are nothing but expressions of Dehata Buddhi. So we will find that one has to keep working with this, and that even Shastra study helps you do all these things also. As we understand the nature of life, we understand the nature of the conclusions, the falsity of their conclusions, and that is how we slowly become free from them. So, Avagati means all this knowledge of Brahman alone is the purpose of what we call Mananam, Nididhyasanam are called separately. But it's very difficult to compartmentalize that now this Shravanam is over and Mananam has started. This Brahma Sutra is nothing but Mananam in that. Even then they say first chapter is Shravanam. It's all Nyaya Grantha. Second chapter is Mananam. Okay. Avirodha Dhyaya. Whatever Virodha is there with other schools of thought, all of these Virodhas are removed. So that is doubt. But even when we are studying all this here, a lot of reasoning is involved. So Nyaya is involved there. So I don't know, how do you separate Shravanam from Mananam? There are no such compartments. All it means that three kinds of obstacles are there, and we have to work with them. We have to resolve them. One is obstacle called ignorance, second is obstacle called doubt, third is obstacle called Dehata Buddhi or identification of the body. That's all. And since three obstacles are there, you imagine three separate means to remove the three obstacles. But understand, all the obstacles have ultimately arisen only from ignorance. Even to take the body as a self, that committing that error or that superimposition, dhyasa, also is a product of ignorance. So actually if ignorance goes, all of this should go. That's the reason why when there's a knowledge, the knowledge is devoid of all, ignorance knowledge which is free from all these obstacles alone can be called knowledge, because still as long as I take the body as myself, you don't call it knowledge. Because these are product of ignorance. Or if I have various doubts, we don't still call it knowledge, because doubts are also products of ignorance alone. So that's why when they call knowledge, in many cases it is knowledge that is free from these doubts and errors also. That's what we call knowledge of a given object also. Knowledge is where the vagueness is not there, doubt is not there, error is not there. That alone is called knowledge. And so, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, all of these ultimately in combination give rise to knowledge. So, there is a lot of fight going on here, whether Shravanam is Pradhanam. I don't know why such a thing is necessary, because what is meant by Shravanam? Is it only that you are sitting in the classroom, that alone is called Shravanam? What you listen here, it keeps on getting processed in your mind. Now what will you call that? It can very well be called Shravanam also. And therefore, it is not that Shravanam means a particular, generally speaking, yes. However, Shravanam means an independent effort is not involved, an effort in which a certain setup is there, wherein the student has to see rather than make a self-effort. So as the teaching is unfolded, the reasoning goes on in the mind along with the teacher without an independent effort. And that is what we call Shravanam. When independent effort is called for, we call it Mananam, But when you are dwelling upon what's going on, then also it becomes an extension of Shravanam. And very often you understand the meaning later on. That's why we say that if you have time, always spend time with the class. When you listen to the class, go home and spend time with this. Write notes. Make points here. At home, go and dwell upon them. And things will become clear. Many statements which are made in the class, they become clear later on, particularly when you are dwelling upon them. And still we keep on remembering statements of Gita and statements of Shankara Bhashya and statements of our own teachers, even now. And in light of a certain framework, they make sense that, oh, this is what Swamiji was saying. And it just makes sense to you that this is what it means. And that is how the things keep on revealing them. No, that's only Shravanam. What else is it? Because that Vakya is there, which is there in the memory, not totally assimilated, or not totally understood, or thought that it is understood. And that Vakya reveals itself. That means what? When the Vakya reveals itself, we call it Shravanam. And therefore, I don't personally think that one has to really compartmentalize Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And this compartmentalization is there basically again on the academic ground that Shabda gives Paroksha Jnanam or Shabda gives Aparoksha Jnanam, etc. But as Bhashyakara says, Shravanavat avagatyarthatvat manana nididhyasanayoho. Manana and nididhyasana both are meant for avagati, meaning meant for the knowledge. That's it. And therefore, the three as a whole package is called vichara. When we say Brahma asato Brahma jignasa or jignasa and Brahma vichara kartavya, what is meant by vichara is all this. Because Vedanta Vakya Vicharana jayate jnanam uttamam. If knowledge is born as a result of the Vedanta Vakya Vichara, then Vichara should include all of this. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam in combination alone should be called Vichara. And so one should not think that now Shravana is over and I am now doing. Everything is going on simultaneously. It's not that one alone is going on. Okay, so नियम विधि पक्षे वेदांत वाक्ये ही एव श्रवणं कर्तव्यं विधि आकारक नियमस्य. That श्रोतव्यो श्रुति वाक्येभ्यः वेदांत वाक्य ही एव. You must listen to the Upanishad, listen to Brahma only with reference to Vedanta Vakya. It is Vichara means Vedanta Vakya Vichara. So श्रवणं कर्तव्यं विधि आकारक नियमस्य. If such a niyama is there, adrushta dvara jnana upayogah. Then that niyama has also some contribution by way of creating some adrushta jnana upayoga. We accept that niyama is also acceptance of Because Vidhi is there and Niyama Vidhi is there, so Adrushta is there and we accept it. And so it is, since Niyama involves Adrushta, we accept that some Adrushta must be there in listening to the Upanishad. Tathacha Uddeshyatvad Jnanam Sarapradhanam Bhavati. Uddeshya is moksha. The purpose is moksha is what one is seeking. That is the pradhanam. Uddeshyatvad Jnanam Sarapradhanam Bhavati. It says moksha is the purpose. And since moksha is attained by knowledge, therefore Jnanam Pradhanam Bhavati. And therefore Jnanam and moksha, then Jnanam becomes Uddeshyam. First moksha is Uddeshya, then Jnanam becomes Uddeshyam. That means the vichara is done for the purpose of Jnanam. Then Jnanam becomes Pradhanam. And Shravanapeksha Vedanta Shastram tu Pradhanam, Mananapeksha Shravanam tu Pradhanam Bhavati iti bhavaha. And then again, in as much as Vedanta Shastra is Jnana Karanam in terms of the, because it is Shabda, therefore Vedanta Shastra is Pradhanyam, and then Shravanam has subsequent Pradhanyam, then Mananam has subsequent Pradhanyam. So Moksha, Jnanam, Vedanta Shastra, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. In this sequence you can see the order of importance, if you want to see. Yamstu Vishesha Shravanam Prati Manadikamangam Jnanam Prati Niyamadi Adrushtam Karanamidi. That Manana Nididhyasana become Anga. When we say they are Anga, that means they become helpful in completing Shravanam. When we call them Anga, that means what? Shravanam really becomes complete with Mananam and Nididhyasana. Then alone you call it Anga. Anga is that without which Angi is incomplete. If Manana and Nididhyasana, they are called Anga of Shravanam, without them Shravanam will be incomplete. So Shravanam alone is complemented by Mananam and Nididhyasanam, and so the three of them make one package, really. Jnanam Pati Niyamadi Adrushtam Karanam iti. And that for Jnanam, some Adrushta, if you call it, then Niyamadi Adrushtam Karanam, whatever. So that Adrushta, which is created by Vedanta Shravanam also, becomes an aid in creating knowledge. Now, this far we discussed. Now, continuing, it's now on the page 192. Tarhi Jnane Vidhi Kimidit Chaktaha. Then, Jnane Vidhi Kimidit Chaktaha. How come you have given up Vidhi with reference to Jnanam? With reference to Shravanam, the Vidhi is there. With reference to Jnanam, and that Jnanam, and then when the knowledge has taken place, then Jnane Vidhi means Upasana alone ultimately. When you talk of Vidhi with reference to Jnanam, then the Jnanam has to be of the nature of Upasana. We said that Jnanam is Vastu Tantram, and therefore there can be no Vidhi. So how come the Vidhi is given up with reference to Jnanam? This is a question. And that question is answered by Bhashyakara, Yadihi iti. Yadihi avagatam brahma anyatra viniyujyeta bhaved tada vidisheshatvam viniyujyeta bhavet. Yadihi avagatam brahma, yadihi if avagatam brahma, brahma which is avagatam, brahman which is known as a result of Shravanam, as a result of the Shastra Shravanam, anyatra viniyujyeta, if that Brahman which is known as a result of Shastra is employed elsewhere, like viniyogaha, jape viniyogaha, like a given thing, given meditation or given stotra or given mantra, has a viniyoga means application in fulfillment or performance of a certain ritual. In that case, you must first know that Purusha Suktam, let us say, is employed in performance of a certain ritual. Or you are doing Ayushya Homa, and so you should repeat so many times the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Then you must learn Mrityunjaya mantra, how to chant it and its meaning, etc. And then chant it 1008 times while performing this yaga. So that is how the Mrityunjaya mantra is employed. That's called, so that employed in performance of this yaga. So Ayushya Homa, let's say. So if thing is known in one place, and it is applied in another place, then we would say that knowledge of that Mahamrityu mantra serves the purpose of this particular yaga, in which case that knowledge becomes secondary, it's serving the purpose of the yaga. Similarly also, let us say that Brahman that you have known from Shastra, that knowledge of Brahman then is applied in something, even in meditation, let us say. That I have known myself is Brahman. Now I should do something with that knowledge by way of meditation, by way of ritual, by way of something. In that case, we would say that that knowledge serves the purpose of some other action, mental or physical, in which case that knowledge would have been secondary. But that is not so. Atma having been known, is it applied anywhere in the scriptures? That may you do this with Atma, may you do this with Brahman? We don't find it. And therefore, Manana Nididhyasana also meant for knowledge. If Brahman that is known as a result of Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, if that Brahman which is known such is employed for performance of some other ritual, then Vidisheshatvam Brahmanaha, then we would say that Brahma would be Vidishesham, meaning serving the purpose of another Vidhi, or Brahma Jnanam can also be Vidishesham if it serves the purpose of some other ritual or Vidhi. That's what Ratnaprabha says. Yadi jnane vidhim angikritya vedantaihi avagatam brahma. That's how it should be read. Vedantaihi avagatam brahma vidheya jnane karmakarakattvena viniyujyeta tada vidisheshatvam syat. Yadi jnane vidhim angikritya, in knowledge also, like vijignyasitavyaha, anveshtavyaha. So if you accept that as a vidhi, this is the question. Vijignyasitavyaha, anveshtavyaha. Atma must be investigated into, Atma must be, one should seek to know Atma in this sense. We don't call that vidhi in the primary sense. Yadi jnane vidhim angikritya vedantaihi avagatam brahma vidheya jnane. So, vedantaihi avagatam brahma, Brahman that is known from Vedanta, vidheya jnane karmakarakattvena viniyujyeta. If that jnanam became karmakarakam, meaning one of the accessories for accomplishment of a karma, tada vidisheshatvam syat, then the knowledge would be serving the purpose of a vidhi of accomplishment of an action, and Brahma also would become vidishesham. But then, that is not the case. Natu avagatasya viniyuktattvamasti प्राप्तावगत्या फललाभे विध्ययोगाद इत्यर्थः विधि अयोगाद इत्यर्थः. That's what Bhashyakara says subsequently, natu iti. So अन्यत्र इति अस्य अर्थमाह विधेय ज्ञाने इति. यदि हि अवगतं ब्रह्म अन्यत्र विनियुज्येत. अन्यत्र means विधेय ज्ञाने विनियुज्येत. Videya means that is enjoined, you see. And so videya jnana, then tat shabdartham is subsequently. Then Sabde Bhashyakara says we should complete that sentence. Natu dadasti manana nididhyasanayorapi shravanavata avagatyarthatvat. Natu tadasti. Idea is that we do not find knowledge of Brahman being employed anywhere for accomplishing some other ritual or some other meditation. We do not find that the case. Manana nididhyasanayo api shravanavat avagatyarthatvat. Because manana and nididhyasana also, like shravanam, are meant for avagati, meant for knowledge. And knowledge is removal of obstacle. That's another thing also. That knowledge is never created, it is said. Knowledge is ever there. All that takes place with reference to knowledge is that obstacles are removed. That's why in Niyayika they would say that even mind also has a capability of knowing everything. You remove obstacles. And similarly, whenever, as we said, truth is always there and knowledge is always there. It is that you have to do some churning in your mind to remove obstacles in terms of not understanding or wrong understanding, etc. And so, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, So they only remove obstacles. So avagatyarthatva, the purpose is only avagati or knowledge. And therefore, natu tadasti, natu avagatasya viniyukta. Tad means viniyuktatvam asti. That viniyuktatvam, that application of this knowledge elsewhere we do not find. Praptavagatya phalalabhe prapta avagatya. Praptasya avagatihi prapta avagatihi. Avagati means knowledge. Praptasya avagati means knowledge of that which is already accomplished. Knowledge always is that of something that is already accomplished. Knowledge always is pertaining to a siddha vastu which is there, because knowledge reveals the nature of a thing always. And the prapta avagatya, Brahma is being the self, is already my nature, is already accomplished. And by the knowledge of Brahman, which is my very self, phala labhe, that itself is phala. Why? Because it is ignorance which created various notions and created the samsara, and therefore it is merely the knowledge which gives rise to the phala of removing ignorance and products of ignorance. That's why in jnanam, products of ignorance must also go. That's what we call the viparita jnanam. The habitual error are nothing but the products of ignorance. So phala labhe vidhi ayogat. When the knowledge itself gives rise to phala, vidhi is for what? When you enjoin something, why do you enjoin something? So that you do something as a result of that instruction. Why do you do something? So that it produces a certain phala. And therefore, the purpose of vidhi ultimately is the safalyam, to create phala or create a useful result. But when jnanam itself creates a useful result, then where is the need for vidhi? When safalyam is not there, then alone you look for vidhi, safalata is there. So, idea is vidhi, vakya is always that which gives rise to, it is useful, its usefulness is there. When jnanam also has its own usefulness, where is the need for again looking for a vidhi in jnanam? Says jnanenaiva moksha rupa phalalabhat na jnane vidhi, should add there. So na jnane vidhi jnanenaiva moksha rupa phalalabhat. Since by knowledge itself there is labha or attainment of phala of the nature of moksha, there is no vidhi of applying that knowledge in some other place, because this knowledge itself is fruitful. येन फलार्थम ज्ञातस्य ब्रह्मणः विधेय ज्ञाने विनियुक्तत्वं स्यात्. Suppose knowledge of Brahman doesn't give rise to the phala. Knowledge of Brahman does not give rise to phala. For your knowledge of Dadhi and Soma etc. does not